be said to be derived, like in a declension. All the ways in which something can be said to be developed, executed. It's a paradigm. Now, we already had a shot at this, but I'd like to go back to it just for a moment. Right. Essence is something that has come into existence, come into being, right? It's come into, I use the word existence not in terms of physical things, because its parents, as it were the bound and infinity. And when it's bound, when he talks about it as when the bound overcomes the infinite, then that's completely focused, it's completely focused, and therefore the idea of sameness develops. You can then use the idea of sameness. When infinity, he calls it vanquishes. He calls it vanquishes or overcomes, or in some parts of the universe exhibits its power to such a degree, then you can say then that difference emerges. Because when the infinite then is no longer contained by anything, there's nothing but a vast difference. Therefore, the idea of difference and sameness emerges when the infinite, therefore, gains access over the bound. Now, notice what we're doing. We're trying to talk about how certain ideas can come into existence metaphysically. That's all we're doing. Right? And we're going to use that. Now, we now can talk about, as we did a moment ago, we can talk about being as ousia. Right? That's predominant permanency. Right? We can talk about it as capable of this action, and a being which then is capable of being in parts, partible. Remember? Now, when these two come together and mix, and they normally can't be mixed because the particle and the impartible can't be mixed, it is mixed with ousia. It's forced. The result of this mixture, that's given the word soul. That's what soul is. That's all it is. It is a new word. All we're doing is saying, since we said there is this, and said we saw that there could be this, when the two combine, mixed up, that's soul. That's all we mean by soul. Therefore, there's a part of soul which is permanent, which is capable of knowing itself, which can't be broken into parts, and a part of soul which, in fact, is in time. This can be in time. This permanency means eternity or eternal, right? It's in eternity. And therefore, in the soul, there's something in it that is eternal, and there's something, therefore, that is subject to change. Now, the soul is said to have three things. You can talk about soul in three ways. So let's break this up so that we can then talk about it. This is soul, three things. And let me bring you to it. Right. It has an ousia. It has an ousia, a capability of turning around itself. It has a certain power, and it has a certain energy. because it derived those, would you not agree, from that vast power, the infinite power that was there. So the infinite power that was there, that is its inheritance and being bound. All right? Now, what do we mean by power of the soul? That means all the ways in which it can know. All the ways it can know. That's a power. All the ways in which it can know. Energy is all the ways it can move in motion, right? Ordered motion, ordered towards anything. Anything that can admit of stages, it can go through them in stages because it has that capability. Therefore, soul has, let's take out the other words we had in here before, get rid of the eternal and change. It therefore has what we call the essence of soul is generated in three. That's called its triple essence. But ousia, as we know, is something very interesting. Now we want to talk about it. Remember what we said about ousia. It is that part, it is that capability of the soul or the mind to turn upon itself and know itself. That means there must be something in it, right? There must be something in it that allows a fullest flowering. Right? Fullest flowering to emerge. It means, therefore, that in this motion, as it were, in this turning about, right, it must move with such perfect harmony. What do we mean by harmony? A measured motion appropriate to the circumstances, completely appropriate to the circumstances. And since it knows itself, right, since it knows itself, it knows itself that it knows itself. Therefore, based in here is also basically idea or form. Now these three things are the way in which ousia can be said to function in the soul. What does it do? Well, in knowing itself, there's a fully flowering outcome of its total activities. There's a harmony in its very nature. And in that knowing, in that fullest knowing, it then has the, I must grasp the form, right, what it is in itself and express it in some idea. That's the soul in respect to the ousia. Therefore, there are three parts of the ousia. These are not parts as partible parts. This is the way in which it functions when it knows itself. Now, since it now can function from two realms, right, it now, we can say, to the degree that it is in man, notice what it does. It now can use all of the ways it can know and seek to satisfy all of those things, and it does so by seeking, therefore, to know all things. Now, you know what that means? That means necessarily, remember we said that it's in, the particle is in time. Therefore, it can know all things in time. That means it can know it incrementally. Why is that? Because it means, therefore, that kind of a soul is generated in such a way that it can always be involved in